Good morning. This is Pamela Bluewater at King David's Palace. We are going to interview David's new wife, the most beautiful and intelligent Abigail, who was formerly married to the very rich Nabal from Carmel. Abigail is one of the most intelligent women described in the Bible in 1 Samuel chapter 25. Welcome, Abigail.
Thank you.
Abigail, you seem very fortunate that you were married to a very wealthy man before meeting David. Nabal had 1,000 goats and 3,000 sheep. You could have stayed with him and lived happily ever after. So what went wrong?
No, you've got it all wrong. My former husband, Nabal, was gruff and mean in his dealings with other people. Even his name means fool, and the lack of good sense goes with him. I think my parents just wanted me to marry somebody rich.
Abigail, how did your husband behave that you could see that?
Well, David had sent a message at sheep shearing time to Nabal, wishing him long life and good health for him and his household. But Nabal greeted this message with suspicion, refusing to give David's 10 messengers any food or even any water. He couldn't have been more insulting.
So what did David do?
Well, David was so insulted that he assembled 400 men to be ready with their swords. I found this out from one of my husband's servants. They were so afraid of Nabal because he was so nasty. So I decided to take quick action. I got together 200 loaves of bread, corn, 2 jars of wine, and cakes of pressed raisins and figs. And then I loaded them all up on donkeys, and I set out to meet David myself.
So it sounds like you had a clever plan.
Yes, I suppose. I knew that David was upset. Well, Nabal had paid him back, evil for good. And so, when I went out to meet David, I got off my donkey and bowed down low with my face on the ground. And then I pleaded with David. I asked him to take my gift of food to his men, and I asked him for his forgiveness. I convinced him that the Lord was with him for fighting the battles of the Lord. David was pleased, and he praised the Lord God of Israel that I'd been sent by him to meet him.
That's very, very clever of you.
Thank you. Well, I had God on my side. David accepted the gift of food, and he told me that I should go home in peace and that he would refrain from causing any bloodshed because of my good judgment.
Now, I know this ended happily ever after for you because when the Lord struck down Nabal and he died, David offered for you to be his wife through his servants because of your intelligence, beauty, and wealth.
Yes, well, when David's servants came to me, I said, after bowing low to the ground, that I would be David's maidservant, ready to serve and to wash the feet of his servants.
Well, you are impressive, Abigail. You know exactly how to handle such a man with eloquence and intelligence. I can see why David married you for your wisdom, beauty, and your wealth. David would now gain the wealth and influence that Nabal previously had.
This is Pamela Bluewater for J&S Biblical Productions in the studio with Mary Beth Violet from the Church of the Open Window. Mary Beth, it's good to have you here.
Thank you.
Mary Beth, what do you see is the important message here?
There's a couple important points. A very wealthy man was about to repay kindness and good cheer with evil. You see, a very wealthy man isn't necessarily a good man. Abigail was able to turn it around and prevent certain bloodshed. She lost no time and took action, and therefore is the heroine of this story. I believe the Lord repaid her because of her clever, quick handling of danger that was about to happen. And this should be a lesson today, to be aware of a very rich man who is a hard man and a fool and an evildoer.
Mary Beth, you described Abigail very well. I believe such an intelligent woman is fit to be the wife of a king, combining wisdom, cleverness, and beauty, who can think on her feet and who can spot an evil man by how he speaks of others. This is Pamela Bluewater for J&S Biblical saying, wise women as Abigail are sent by God. Good morning.